Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Shelton Board of Education special meeting in person. Today is Wednesday, August 10th, 2022, and we are at Long Hill Avenue in the first floor boardroom. It is 5:47. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Joseph Pagliara. Here. Lorraine Rosner. Here. Kate Kutash. Here. Diana Meyer.
She's coming late.
Patty Noonan. Here. James Orzetti.
Excused.
Carl Rizzo.
Here.
Amy Romano.
Coming late.
Kathy Gillis.
Here.
And the minutes will also reflect in attendance Todd Happelfinger, Carol Pinozzo, Ken Serenage, and Kristen Sanzo.
Okay, thank you. All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion made by Kate Kutash, seconded by Lorraine Rosner. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Agenda item 3, consideration of the board. Yeah. I think I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
If you need to and you want to, you don't have to. Like, so it's really,
What do you mean?
you don't have to go into an executive session, only if you feel it's necessary to discuss. If you think the board wants to discuss it, or it's really, it's the,
Okay, all right, then, we're not going into executive session. I'm making the decision. Okay, consideration of the board to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the principal of Mohegan Elementary School. Discussion and possible action, it says to be conducted in executive session. But I made the executive decision not to go into executive session. Okay,
I
so,
will point out before, in some of the recommendations, the board did not go into executive session. Back then, we were doing Zoom meetings, but we didn't go into executive session.
okay,
So I'm just saying, it's really, unless they believe there's a discussion to be had, because it's a personnel matter, then we would go into the executive session. But if you want to just forward through with the superintendent's
that's
recommendation.
forward.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna turn this over to the superintendent now. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're on.
So what I'd like to do is I'd like to call John Capola, to come and sit at the table here and introduce him to the board. Mr. Capola is my recommendation for the position of principal of Mohegan School. He has gone through a very rigorous interview process, as we do here in Shelton, and along the way of the interview process, John has remained the top candidate in each level through that process. He's been very impressive in terms of what he has done through this, and in the vetting along with that, I'd like to just speak to his credentials and what set him apart from the other candidates that we have seen. He currently is an assistant principal. He is an elementary assistant principal at Pendergrass Elementary School in Ansonia Public Schools. He has been at both elementary schools in Ansonia in the role as an assistant principal. It's nearly 10 years that he's been in the position as an assistant elementary principal. Prior to that, he served in the role as an assistant principal at the middle school level. And he also was a former high school teacher. So he truly sees the gamut of K-12 education and the importance of how a system operates together, which reflects truly about the leadership style and team that we're trying to bring into Shelton as I build the capacity of our leadership team together. His time in his elementary levels with Pendergrass and Beat School, which is important for the Shelton Public School, is that they also developed their pre-K program. They went through the same readiness council that Shelton is currently being involved in, so he's very familiar with that process, has worked with the same individuals that we will be working as we build our program for the pre-K. So there was not a candidate within the lot that has more experience relative to practical pre-K experience than John himself, which is going to be an asset for us at Mohegan School. He shows his successful leadership ability. A lot of that, as he will say himself, and we have learned, comes from his time spent in the military, in which he served our country as an officer in the U.S. Army. His success, has shown through, and he's grown here. He's grew up in the Valley, which really knows the traditions of our community and the Shelton community as a whole, which I think is very important as somebody who can understand the Naugatuck Valley and how Shelton loves our traditions. During the vetting process, these are some of the things that I found out in speaking with some of his former supervisors and colleagues. He has a passion for education. He knows his commitments to education, especially when it comes to his students. He always has a positive attitude. He understands instructional data and PBIS, which are major components that we're looking into coming up with the school year. And one of the shining pieces that I admired is he is an excellent member of a team. And as I always said to the board, and as I have started as a superintendent, we're building team members here for a school system, as opposed to a system of schools. So not only will John be an attribute to the Mohegan community, which I think is the right person for that job, he will be an attribute to the Shelton leadership team in helping the school system as a whole. With that said, I'd like to present Mr. John Capola as my recommendation for the principal of Mohegan School.
If I may add.
Yes.
I was one of the board members that was part of the interview committee, and we were blown away unanimously recommending Mr. Capola. I heard more than once that he was a dynamic person. We were impressed with the fact he had just about every situation we rolled out at him. He had specific details of how he would deal with it or how he has dealt with it in the past. And as Mr. Serenich mentioned, he's a Valley person, and I think Ansonia has a lot of similar issues with population that we do here, so it's a good fit that way too. And again, I was going to mention the 10 years as an assistant principal. And the thing that impressed me when I first sat down and looked through the resume, there's a line for reason for leaving, current situation. I'm ready to be a principal. I think he is.
Thank you.
Joseph?
I would agree with all of you. I also sat on the committee that interviewed Mr. Capola, and I think he's going to be an excellent fit here in the Shelton school system. That he is half the principal that his late great mother was in the Derby school system. He is going to do us all very proud.
Thank you.
Any board members have any questions for Mr. Capola?
No, just welcome aboard.
Well, wait a minute. We can't jump in the gun.
It's going well.
It's true. You're jumping the gun.
I just wanted to be the first.
I'd also like to say, when I sat along with Ken in the final round, I was also very impressed, and I just got a very good, positive feeling that this is probably, Mohegan School has excellent principals, but we've gone through probably 5 in the last 10 years or so, and I think this is a good fit, and I see him there for at least 10 years or 15, or I don't know how many you plan on working, but anyways, I was very impressed. I also want to thank Carol for doing a wonderful job with organizing the committee, and Kristen for all of the assistance you gave, as well as our board members who had to give up. I mean, everybody thinks it's easy to be a board member, but you know what? When you look at all of these things that you have to do, like a day and a half or 2 days of interviews.
8.5 hours over 2 days.
8.5 hours. Like I said, it's not, I mean, I think that as a board of Education probably puts in more time, I hate to say this publicly, than any other board in the town. So I thank you for your commitment and your time. Lorraine, I'll be thanking you when we start on teacher negotiations, okay? So, with that said, yeah, the 2 of us, I know.
Yes.
We're getting paid for that.
Thanks, Carol.
No, you have to thank me because
No, it's all right.
we'll do it together. John, would you like to say anything to the board, or?
How about we
Yes.
do the recommendation first?
Yeah. Oh, do the recommendation,
Wanna
okay.
Make a motion to the recommendation before
Madam
we.
Chair, you want me to do it?
Yes, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation of John Capola for the position of principal of Mohegan School.
I would like to second that.
Okay, motion made by Mrs. Kutas, seconded by Mr. Pagliaro. Any discussion? Sensing none. Now we can vote. Okay, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Congratulations. Now, would you like to say something?
Sure. First of all, thank you to Mr. Saranic and to the entire committee who took the time. I know it's a lot of time, especially during the summer months when it's 90 degrees outside, to spend the time interviewing. I'm sure it was a very talented pool of applicants. So thank you for taking the time to interview all of us and for giving me this wonderful opportunity. As Mr. Saranic said, I'm from the Valley originally. I grew up in Derby up until I was about 12 and then moved out, but in true Valley form, it sucked me back in one way or another. I began working in Ansonia 15 years ago as a teacher at the middle school and high school level, then became an assistant principal, and I've been an assistant principal for 10 years. I think that experience has really prepared me and set me up well for this position. I had a few words written. I'm going to go a little off my original script and just say the fit piece is an interesting thing to take from this experience. I've been on multiple interviews over many years, and many times people would say, you check all the boxes, but it's just not the right fit. This felt to me like the best fit for me as well. So I'm really happy to hear that this committee felt as though I would fit in to Shelton also. So it's beginning to make sense now. When people have told me that in the past, it makes sense. Shelton's a tremendous community. I respect and understand the traditions that Shelton has and how important those are to generations of families. I want to honor and continue to uphold many of those traditions while continuing to move the school forward and evolve, and make Mohegan School the best it could possibly be. Families move back to Shelton for the main reason because of the schools, and they pick which neighborhood they're going to move to based on those schools. And I want Mohegan to be, one of those areas where, those Shelton families who want to come back and give back to the community, they want to come back and they want to move back to the Mohegan area because of the school system. I want to thank my dad who's here with me today and his girlfriend Madeline for always supporting me. As Mr. Pagliaro said, my mom was an administrator and she kind of set the path before me, in Derby. And so I know she's looking down today, and I'm sure she has some mixed emotions, seeing as how many working in Shelton, not in Derby. I'm not sure where I'm going to stand if they ever play football again. I'm not sure which sideline I'll be on. But I know she's proud of me, and if it wasn't for her support, I certainly wouldn't be here today. I want to thank my two kids, Anthony and Angela. They drive me crazy sometimes, but I'm so proud that they could be here with me today. I've always said that being an educator made me a better father, and being a father made me a better educator. So many similarities and so many things that I take from school, I bring home to the kids, so many things that they share with me, and then I can bring into school. So I love them very much. They're the reason why I work the way I do and why I give my all. And so I'm really glad they're here with me today. And my girlfriend Rynette is here. She has been an inspiration to me this past year, and she's always encouraged me to, shoot for the stars. In fact, when this job was posted, we were on vacation, and we were on the beach, and I'm like, Shelton posted a job. She's like, you should apply for it. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to apply for it. I'm not sure. She's like, go up. After lunch, go up, get off the beach, go apply. And I did. And if it wasn't for her encouragement, I don't know if I'd be sitting here today, because I don't know if I would have been able to do it later that night or anything. I did it when I was fresh. So thank you for always believing in me. And I know we start September 6th, and there's a lot of work to do. I just can't wait to get started. And thank you again for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
And I've got one parent awaiting my text now that I can say who it is.
Okay. With that said, and here comes Mrs. Romano. Mrs. Romano had a commitment, but I will introduce you before we adjourn. Amy, this is John Capola.
I'm Mr. Romano.
And we just voted. We didn't go into executive session, but you'll have some time to meet with him because we're scheduled for our next meeting until 6:15. But it was unanimous vote, and I think you'll agree with us because I know you trust us. in our decisions, and our board members that work so hard. We appreciate it, and I said that before. So with that said, it is 6:03, and we are adjourned.